Okay, take two.
Yeah, we'll just do it.
Take
Well-
two.
Welcome to the preview, the NRL HUB's Indigenous All-Stars trial, first game of the year. What do you think, Jack?
Well, Nicky, the unofficial kick-off to the season, they call it. Mate, I'm just excited to have rugby league back, to be quite honest with you. Any kind of rugby league's good for me. I know traditionally the Charity Shield has been the unofficial kick-off to the season, and I guess the All-Stars game has somewhat surpassed it as the kick-off to the season. I'm excited, and it's good that the concept itself is exciting, but there have been some questions as to the sustainability of the concept. I like it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think now that they've moved to Suncorp Stadium for this year, expecting a crowd around 40,000, I think they need a pretty decent showing from both sides, I think, to ensure its long-term viability. I think the fans pay money to go and see it. They want to see something of a contest, although we don't want to see any serious injuries, but I think it needs to be an honest hit out for both sides for this to remain on the sporting calendar to start the season for rugby league. There's 26 days to go, first taste, can't wait.
You mentioned honest hit out. It obviously lacks the Origin type intensity, and nothing will compare. Do you think it's an honest hit out, or some fans consider it a little bit of a risk in terms of their highest profile players playing a game that essentially, whilst it does mean something, I guess, to the Indigenous community, and it's a good hit out, do you find it actually means a lot to the players?
I think to some more than others. I obviously think for the Indigenous players, there seems to be a lot of respect for that jersey and for the concept itself. You see with Manly and Watmo playing in trial this weekend, but not playing in this match. So it does raise a valid question about what the players' intentions are and whether or not that filters down from the hierarchy within the club and the coach. My team, the Raiders, got 6 or 7 representatives, so it looks like they take it seriously. But I think with the number of players on show, just having a look on the telly, that some of the high-profile guys, I think they're taking it quite seriously. And obviously, to guys like JT, it means a lot. So I think we'll see a lot of open play in a warm night, a big crowd. So I think we're in for a good, honest showing. I think we won't see them at their best, but we might see some razzle-dazzle.
So, some of the fans are actually concerned about the amount of players that have dropped out. Your Billy Slaters, your Paul Gallons, the Cooper Cronks. They're the players the fans have chosen, but unfortunately, either due to injuries or perhaps other circumstances like Anthony Watmouse, they haven't been able to play. I just wonder if this is an Origin game, you tend to play a little bit into it and you wouldn't forego that for any reason. I guess, how do you feel about the players, I guess some of the elite players dropping out?
I think the Melbourne Blokes have got the World Cup challenge probably on their mind. I think if they were conditioned and it was coming up to Origin, we'd see the best of the best, but the potential for serious long-term injury is there, especially someone like Watmo who does have a history of injury, and Gallen. But I think if this was something of a more serious nature, like an Origin game or even possibly City Country, then I think all the players would be there. So I don't think potentially showing disrespect to the jersey, seems more the All-Stars that are missing out than the Indigenous, which is not that surprising, but with the World Cup challenge for Cronk and Slater, their eyes are probably looking ahead to that. If players don't want to play it, put their hand up and they can just not be considered for selection from next year on. So I think it's as simple as that. So if Watmo doesn't want to do it, then excluding from the selection list.
I guess players like Paul Gallen probably help if they didn't get in the boxing ring a couple of weeks before the game. I guess it was for a good reason, but from the club's perspective, I guess you want to cotton wool some of their star players, don't you?
Yeah, I think with Gallen and the Sharks having a whole new lineup this year and expectations being quite high, that they would want him as their captain and best forward to be on the paddock for round 1 to ensure that they get up to the best possible start. So I can to a point understand Shane Flanagan's reasons for wanting to keep the ball going out. I think he's an integral part of Cronulla's chances this year, so I think him not being there won't diminish from the game. I think the All-Stars lineup is still very strong, and I'm still tipping them to win by about 8 points.
Okay, we'll get on to that a little bit later, but my other question is, you're a Canberra supporter, I'm a Canterbury supporter. Now, we made the grand final last year, and I think we've only got the 3 representatives. How the heck do you get 7 players in a representative fixture? Just explain that to me.
Well, Laurie Daly's the Indigenous coach, also the New South Wales coach, so I think from...
What you say, there's a bit of bias there. You think Loz is not really being fair and objective, is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I think there's a slight green tinge to the way he's viewing the game. Jack Whiten was a surprise for me. I didn't even know he was Indigenous, so... but that doesn't mean these blokes aren't up to. I think they most definitely are, and obviously Daly has said in the press that some of his guys that he wants to have a look at are getting a run. So it's being an X-rated, it's heavily influenced his selection criteria, I think, and just on being a Bulldogs fan, I have to remind you, Jack, that last year's grand final were both beaten by 28 points by the Raiders. So we're the only team that can claim that.
And you won a trial last night as well. So based on that, you're telling me that the Raiders own the Storm at the moment. Is that what you're trying to say?
Oh, look, it's the odd year. Raiders usually don't make the finals in the odd years. I think this year may be different, but we'll have to wait and see. So I think it's all going to come down to injuries. Any team that has a good run with injuries and isn't hit heavily tends to fare well at the back end of the season. So,
very true.
But this is all about the Indigenous and the All-Stars, and I think the concept is growing. I think they need to put on an honest concept. Same sort of situations happened in the Pro Bowl with the NFL. The question is viability, because the players weren't taking it seriously enough. I think maybe increased prize money for the Indigenous All-Stars game could be a better way of wanting the elite players to play every year, because it could supplement their income. And even for some of those fringe guys, it could really help them go the extra mile and put in a bigger effort. If the game's got plenty of money now, so I think it's a situation where if you can afford it, stump up some extra prize money and make it a real legitimate concept.
Now, there's been talk of a Rugby League Nines type concept that's being sprouted, I guess, by the administrators. Do you think that should supersede the All-Stars Indigenous game, or I guess that could be an earlier game, just a kind of bit of fun, razzle-dazzle, almost touch football style competition?
I think it's something they could look at potentially on the Australia Day weekend, depending on the clashes with cricket or not. I would have it that you would at least want 3 to 4 players from your first grade squad in a nines team, and then give your fringe players a run. I think it's another good opportunity to give the coach or the coaching staff a look at those players who are coming through from the under-20s, and whether or not they've got a career in first grade, and if they're on the fringe, what they can do. So I think it's, and the fans love it. I used to go to the sevens all the time. So I think from that point of view, a nines tournament would be a major success. Played at a smaller ground though, so play at Parramatta Stadium, somewhere where you've got 20,000 capacity, and you know that you're going to get that many people for the duration of the tournament, and it builds to a good atmosphere. So don't take it to ANZ where it's 83,000 and you get 20,000, it looks like it's poorly supported. So I'd take it to a smaller suburban ground. Penrith, Campbelltown, Parramatta Stadium, Cogra, Wollongong, all those grounds would be ideal venues for a nine-style tournament, I think.
Nice. They're talking about fairly significant lucrative prize money for this tournament, and I guess that in itself has been an incentive to put the best of the best. I mean, can you imagine, you know, Greg Inglis, Billy Slater, Ben Barber, Jonathan Thurston, Matty Bowen, etc., all playing in the one competition? You kind of lick your lips in anticipation of something like that.
I think with developments in how athletes groom themselves for the season, you would love to see these guys in open space all the time. And it was blasphemy. I actually saw a little bit of the sevens in Wellington the other day for the rugby, and some of these guys seeing them in open space, they are just amazingly quick. And who wouldn't want to see a Greg Inglis being chased by Billy Slater or Ben Barber being
Yeah.
chased by Greg Inglis. It would just be superb to see those guys in open space, I think.
You know, Greg Inglis would have no hope of catching Ben Barber just for the
Remains to be seen. At least we've got Dugan in there.
I knew you'd have to bring some camera play out. I think for me personally, I think the off season is actually a bit too long for my liking. I think any player would tell you that the off season just drags on and they just can't wait to get back into the game. I think what we finish in October, we officially kick off in March. Some would argue, yes, they need their bodies rested, but you know, it's a game and everyone's earning big bucks at the moment. I think the off season is a bit long, and something like a 9-style tournament is a nice sort of prelude to the competition without being too physical. But it also gets the fans more involved a little bit quicker. I know you got the heat aspect, but maybe you could organise it into 4 quarters or something. Yeah, sorry?
Play it at night.
Or play it at night.
Yeah, 4 quarters at night, I think. I think the injuries would be minimal. If conditioning is okay, there's no massive hits, and with the shoulder charge being outlawed, you would think that unless it's a one-on-one tackle, there shouldn't be too many incidents of serious injury. Well, you hope not anyway, but I think as long as the players are conditioned right, it'd be more a game of like touch football. So I think from that point of view, seeing those players in open space, and that's what people are going to pay for. It's going to bring them through the game.
Yeah, like I said, I just want rugby league.
Oh, man.